So I just came across this today. Why are police engaged with over 100 young people in local safeguarding operation? Now, if you look at the date, it says November the 14th last year, and Jodie Atwell went missing on the 1st of November, and Ellie Preston went missing on the 24th of November, and they launched an appeal on the 28th, 4 days later. As far as we know, Jodie Atwell hasn't turned up, and it's quite concerning as to where she is because she's only 15 years old. There were some concerns about sound quality yesterday, and it was, without going into it, all I can say is you're going to have to take me as you find me, I'm afraid. If you're here for the sound quality, this probably isn't the right YouTube channel for you. Because I'm just doing what I can with what I have and with my own situation at the moment. That's my dog in the background, by the way. So if you don't like hearing ear shaking, I'm sorry, you might hear that occasionally. Sorry to disappoint. But thank you very much for people who made such nice comments. Thank you. Right. So, Operation Lighthouse is a joint initiative between Wire Police and their exploitation team. Wire Community Partnership, Lancashire Children's Social Care, Lancashire Contextual Health Team, and Targeted Youth. Targeted Youth. Say that again. I think there's a little bit of a problem. The non-enforcement operation promotes the safeguarding of young people on the streets or public areas who may be classed as vulnerable or at risk of significant harm. This includes young people who may be consuming alcohol or other intoxicants and engaging in antisocial behaviour. We know that that is one of Andrew Snowden's top priority, along with Operation Warrior, which I will go into further on another video. This is Operation Lighthouse. Also, I would like to talk about concerns about the militarisation of police in the UK. That's been a concern in America. It's become very much militarised. And I noticed there's all these operations, Operation Warrior. That's actually the name of a military operation, which I'm not going to try, and I can't remember exactly what military operation it was. I don't think that's necessarily that important, but yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about. And there was a recent report called Great British Problems. I think it's called Great British Problems. Something British Problems, I'm pretty sure it's Great British Problems. And it's a report regarding concerns with the militarisation of the police. And I can only find summaries of the report. When you try and click, I found somewhere where the report was, you try and click on it. But just like the 3 or 4 missing bulletins of Nicola Bullies and other things, there's other things that I've mentioned that have been dirty deleted. That seems to have been dirty deleted too. Lots of dirty deleting going on. So Operation Lighthouse aims to engage with parents, guardians and carers of these young people, because looked after children, so that'd be children in foster care or children's homes, are particularly at risk of exploitation. I used to work in children's homes, and I might talk about that on another video. I'll leave that for now. Sorry, just looking to see where I am. To ensure that they are physically, mentally, emotionally and sexually healthy. Adopting healthy lifestyles and choosing not to take illegal drugs or alcohol. On Thursday 27th and Friday 28th of October 2022, officers and partner services visited hotspot areas in Poulton and Fleetwood and engaged with over 100 young people. Searches were made under the Misuse of Drugs Act, and disruptions were made to groups as large as 60 young people committing antisocial behaviour in the streets. I wonder what disruptions means. I mean, dispersal's one thing, but disruptions sounds like a different thing. Children at Milton Street Community Centre provided great feedback. Oh, they loved being disrupted. About the operation, stating that they felt a safe and secure presence during the evenings. I'd prefer to hear people actually giving their own feedback rather than reports of it, because it's really hard to know when you hear summaries. I've seen summaries of what I've said before, and I've felt like it's not a true representation of what I've said. So I don't know, not so keen on summaries. Inspector Martin Wyatt said, because we with the Nicola Bulley case, we're not getting people actually saying what they're saying, are we? Everything's being given us second-hand, no names really, unless they end up coming out. It's quite unusual, really. It's something that seems to have changed, and it doesn't really help with public support, because it just makes the public feel less confident towards the police and towards the whole case. Inspector Martin Wyatt said, "We engaged with over 100 young people who were out in Fleetwood. In 5 cases, we prevented harm by removing children to a place of safety. These children were at risk of harm through alcohol and substance use. We involved parents and introduced families to agencies who are able to produce further support where necessary. My officers frequently work with wires, councils, social care and local youth groups to prevent harm and reduce ASB, antisocial behaviour. We will conduct operations such as this regularly and remove children from potentially harmful situations. Be warned. Our pledge is to keep young people safe in wire." Sip of the tea, sorry. "The operation will be conducted again in January 2023. This activity follows the national Look Closer campaign, which encourages people to get to know the signs of child exploitation and how to report it." So, signs of child exploitation: travelling alone, particularly in school hours, late at night and frequently, looking lost or in unfamiliar surroundings, anxious, frightened, angry, or displaying other behaviours that make you worried about them, in possession of more than one phone, carrying lots of cash, potentially under the influence of drugs or alcohol, being instructed or controlled by another individual, accompanied by individuals who are older than them, seen begging in a public place, how to report it. And you might know there isn't a separate telephone number for it. You'll be calling that 101 number that's very, very busy, and that we heard in a previous video. Councillor Beaver, I believe, Lorraine Beaver, I think her name is, at the Wire Council meeting that was the evening before Nicola went missing, and she said that people were waiting 25 minutes to get through, which is probably why they were so keen for people not to contact them with anything unless it's factual. But as John Cook pointed out in his videos, Crime Scene 2 Courtroom, you don't always know whether something's factual. Like, you're just, people are maybe just passing on what they've seen or information that they've been given. If you have been given some information, you're going to, if you think that it could be relevant, then you're going to pass it on. I think their problem is they just don't have enough telephonists. They just don't have enough people answering the phones. And so they couldn't cope with it because they don't have the resources. I mean, otherwise, I really don't know how they're being disrupted that much, because they're basically diving in a river and nobody's pulling them out the river. Nobody's going down the river on speedboats. I really don't. And in terms of the family, they put out a public appeal. And I don't know if the police have overstated the family being upset. I don't know. I'm whittering on a bit now. But it was all stirred up a bit by the media, about social media, because they are happy for once not to be, well, at the time, not to be the ones having the finger pointed at them, because we know the reputation of the British paparazzi, and it's worldwide. They were American on a live show on in Crime Scene 2 Courtroom 2 Crime Scene 2 Courtroom. I don't know why I can't get that the right way around. There were 4 people on. There were 4, I think 3 or 4 American guests on the panel discussing the case. And it's quite interesting to hear point of view from a different country, and somebody did mention the irony of the British press pointing the finger at social media after all the years they've heard of the paparazzi. Anyway, I'm going off piste a little bit here. It's why I usually try and keep my videos as short as possible, because I'm a bit of a waffler. So, but I wanted to share that because I think there's a little bit of a problem in the area. I have got some other concerns which I'll share in a future video. Thanks for listening.